It was cold and raining, but I had no choice but to stand out on the street, trying to get some money for food. I held out my hand to a family as they walked by. "Please, sir, spare me $1." The man didn't even look at me. It was as though I didn't even exist. His wife looked in the other direction to avoid eye contact with me, but their son definitely saw me. I know that because he kicked me hard on the shin as he walked past. "Hey, that hurt!" But he just laughed and carried on walking. I don't know who they think they are. Just because I'm begging doesn't give them the right to treat me like an animal. I slumped down onto the floor and huddled against the wall to try and get some warmth. That's when I noticed another family walking towards me. You could see by the clothes they were wearing and the handbag the lady was carrying that they were super wealthy. Ugh, I would kill to be in their shoes. But before I go on, you won't forget to like and subscribe, will you? Oh, and hit that notification bell too. Life just wasn't fair. How come they got to have everything whilst I had nothing? I hated rich people. Most of them had never done a day's work in their lives. Yet, they got to live a life of luxury. Why can't I get some good luck for a change? I sat there for hours wallowing in self-pity. But then something inside me changed. I began to feel more determined. Come on, Selena. Sitting here feeling sorry for yourself isn't going to get you anywhere. You need to get up and do something about your situation. It was like a light bulb had gone off in my head. I knew that I couldn't live my life just begging on the streets anymore. I decided I would go out and try to find a job. I started asking in every shop that I went past if they had any vacancies, but each one took one look at my appearance and gave a resounding no. I had almost given up hope when I walked into the last shop at the end of the street. It was a small grocery store run by an old man with a kind face. "Excuse me, sir. I'm looking for some work. Do you have any vacancies?" The man looked me up and down.
Are you a hard worker?
Yes. Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
And are you honest?
Of course, sir.
Okay, you can start on Monday at 9 a.m.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And you can stop calling me sir. My name is Bill.
Thank you, Bill. The man smiled at me, his eyes lighting up. I walked out of the shop and onto the street. Yes! I couldn't believe that I had actually managed to find a job. I started work on Monday morning, and even though I enjoyed the job, the money was barely enough to live on. I really need to find a way to get more money. There's got to be an easier way than working all hours for a pittance. I didn't have any skills, so there was no way I could get a well-paid job. Guess there's nothing else for it. I'll have to become a gold digger. I began to hatch out a plan to become the best gold digger in town. It took me a while, but eventually I knew exactly what I must do. How to snag a rich guy 101. This is my step-by-step guide. First, I went to clubs. Only the ones frequented by the wealthy and famous, of course. Once inside the club, I would look for the richest guy in there. They were never difficult to spot because they were usually the loudest and the ones showing off the most. The thing that gave them away was always the watch that they were wearing. If it was anything less than a Rolex, then I didn't give them the time of day. As soon as I spotted my prey, I set out to seduce them. It was a joke how easy it was. All I had to do was flatter them, tell them how handsome they were, and they would fall for me. Once I had them hooked, the next thing to do was to convince them to buy me stuff. After they had bought me enough things, I would ditch them and move on to the next one. Of course, I always made sure to move around to different clubs and always wear some kind of disguise, like a wig or something. That way, I could even snag a few different guys at the same time. I remember one guy that I met in the Mayfair Club. It's a very exclusive club. Only the richest of the rich can be a member there. His name was Nicholas. I spotted him the moment I entered the club. He was sitting at the bar on his own and looking pretty miserable. I walked over and sat on the stool next to him. "Penny for your thought?" He looked over at me.
You wouldn't want to know.
"Try me."
I've just been dumped by my girlfriend.
"Well, I think that is something to celebrate, don't you? Why don't you buy me a drink and I will try to cheer you up." He looked at me, hesitating for a second, but then he smiled.
Sure, what would you like?
"A glass of champagne, please."
Oh, I like your style.
Thank you. I've always been a champagne kind of girl. I spent the next couple of hours chatting away with him. I made sure to listen and look really interested in everything he told me, even though, to be honest, I found him really boring. Nicholas, your girlfriend must have lost her mind. I can't imagine why anyone would want to dump you. You are so interesting. And so good-looking, too. Any girl would be lucky to date you.
You know what? You're right. It's her loss, not mine. And actually, I owe her a favor. If she hadn't dumped me, I would never have met you. They say things happen for a reason, don't they?
They most certainly do. By the end of our third drink, I had persuaded Nicholas to take me shopping the next day. There's this really cute pair of earrings that I've been wanting. We should go get them in the morning and then go out for a fancy lunch somewhere.
Sure, Selena. I'll pick you up at 10 a.m.
I only saw Nicholas one more time, then I made some excuse about having to look after an elderly relative or something. So I'm sorry, I won't be able to see you anymore.
I understand. And you're such a good person, giving up your social life to care for someone else?
Anyone would do the same. I'm not anything special.
Oh, I think you are.
It wasn't long after that I met Adam. I met him in the usual way. I spotted him across the room, checked out his watch, and realized that he was obviously mega rich. But things didn't turn out the way I thought they would with Adam. You see, I ended up falling in love with him. You probably won't believe me when I say this, but I didn't even care about his money. I really just loved him for who he was. I decided that I would stay with Adam. I'd had enough of jumping from one guy to another. It was time to settle down, and I knew that Adam was the right guy for me. Adam took me on some of the most amazing dates of my life. One time, he surprised me by turning up in a Ferrari.
Hop in. I have a surprise for you.
What? What is it?
Wait and see.
He drove me out to the airport. Where are we going?
It's a surprise.
He parked the car, and we got out. A private jet was waiting for us, its engines running. Oh my god, I can't believe it! Where are we going?
Where have you always dreamed of going?
No. Really? Oh my god! Are you taking me to Paris?
I sure am.
Oh my god, I'm so excited! I can't breathe! That was just one of the many amazing adventures Adam took me on. My life with him was perfect in every way. Well, almost perfect. There was just one thing that was really annoying. Other women were always trying to steal him from me. One time, we were at a 5-star Michelin restaurant enjoying a meal. I went to the bathroom. I couldn't have been gone more than 5 minutes. But when I got back to our table, there was another woman sitting in my seat. Excuse me, that's my seat. The woman looked up at me and gave me an evil stare.
You should be careful leaving your man all alone. You don't know what might happen.
Selena, this is Nancy. She's an old friend.
Well, a bit more than friends, hey, Adam?
Nancy, this is my girlfriend, Selena.
I noticed that her face fell when Adam introduced me as his girlfriend. She made her excuses and left. Wow, she's a bit rude.
Just ignore her. She's harmless.
But it was a bit difficult to ignore Nancy. She seemed to turn up everywhere we went. I really think that she's actually stalking you, Adam.
You know, I think you might be right. I thought it was all just a bit of fun on her part, but she really seemed to have some kind of fixation on me.
I think we should just call the police. Ask them to give her a warning to stay away from you.
You're right. I will call them first thing in the morning.
I don't know what the police said to Nancy, but we didn't have any more issues with her. So, whatever it was, it worked. I thought that after that, everything would be fine. But then, Adam hit me with a big one.
I want to introduce you to my parents.
Oh, really? Don't you think it's a bit soon? Maybe we should wait a bit longer.
Don't be silly. Why should we wait?
But what if they don't like me?
Of course they will like you. Why wouldn't they?
But it didn't matter how much Adam tried to reassure me. I couldn't help feeling really nervous at the thought of meeting his parents. I knew that Adam was really close with his mom and dad. He would value their opinion of me. From the moment I met his dad, we hit it off straight away. He was so kind and funny. I couldn't help but feel relaxed. But his mom was a different story. I could tell immediately that she didn't like me.
So where do you work, Selena?
I work in a shop in the high street.
Oh, right. I would have expected Adam to date a doctor or a lawyer or something, not a shop girl.
Mom, don't be like that.
Well, I'm just looking out for you, Adam. Are you sure she isn't just going out with you for your money?
No, honestly, I'm not. I loved Adam for who he is. It's not about what he has or what he can buy me. I never felt this way about anyone before. Adam looked at me in shock.
Did you just say that you love me?
I began to blush. I couldn't believe that the first time I said that I loved him was in front of his mom and dad. Yeah?
I love you too.
Really?
Yes, of course. I fell in love with you the moment I met you.
Oh, Adam, I'm so happy right now. You will not believe what Adam did next. He stood up, put his hand in his pocket, and took out a box. Then he got down on one knee.
I've been waiting for the perfect moment, and this is it. Selena, will you marry me?
Oh, I gasped out loud. Yes, I'll marry you. Adam jumped up and pulled me into his arms. He was grinning from cheek to cheek.
I'm going to make you the happiest girl in the world.
Congratulations, son.
Thanks, Dad. Mom?
Adam's mom stood there for a few seconds in shock, but then she gathered herself together.
If it's what you want, Adam, then of course I am happy for you. Congratulations to both of you.
Adam didn't want a long engagement.
Why wait? I just want to be married to you.
So we had a quiet ceremony. Just Adam's family and friends. Oh, and Bill and his wife came along too. I couldn't believe how lucky I was. Everything in my life had turned out perfectly. But then, one day, things went terribly wrong. I had been out shopping on my own, and when I arrived back home, there wasn't a light on in the house. That's strange. I know the staff are all off today because it's a public holiday, but I thought that Adam would be home by now. I got the shopping from the back of the car and opened the kitchen door. I immediately noticed that there was something red on the kitchen floor. Did Adam spill tomato sauce or something? I stepped inside, and that was when I saw him. Adam was lying face down on the kitchen floor with a knife sticking out of his back. Ah! So, who do you think it was that murdered Adam? Please leave your predictions down below and stay tuned for the next episode of this crazy story.
Lucy was about to tell me what Liam's parents' secret was when something stopped her in her tracks. I turned to look and saw that Liam's parents were standing right behind me. Suddenly, they ran at Lucy and put a sack over her head. I watched as Liam's dad whacked Lucy on the head and she fell to the floor unconscious. Then his parents started walking towards me. I started slowly backing away. Suddenly, I felt someone standing behind me. I turned around. It was Liam. Oh, thank goodness. Liam, you won't believe what is going on here. I told Liam everything that had happened, all about how Lucy was really a spy and how she had faked her own death and framed him for it. She was the one that put cameras in the bedrooms. She blackmailed your parents into telling her their secrets, and then she gave them the footage to prove you were innocent. Liam stood there listening to everything I said without saying a word. You have to call the police. You have to tell them everything that has happened. Liam hesitated for a minute.
I'm sorry, I can't do that.
But why not? You will not believe what happened next. Instead of answering me, Liam lifted up a sack and put it over my head. I started to panic. My heart was beating so fast I thought I was going to die. Suddenly, I felt a hard thud on the side of my temple. The next thing I knew, everything went black. I opened my eyes and looked around me. My head felt fuzzy and it was hard to focus my eyes. As my vision cleared, I realized that I was in the basement of Liam's house. Then I saw that Liam and his parents were standing there watching me. You have to help me. You can't keep me tied up in here. They just stood there staring at me in silence. I looked to my right and saw that Lucy was also in the basement. She was awake too.
I know you've been smuggling illegal goods. Don't think you're going to get away with it.
And what are you going to do about it?
So you admit it then?
Yes, okay, we admit it.
You're going to go to prison for a long time.
I don't think so.
Once the police find out...
But they're not going to find out, are they? The only people that know what we are doing are you two, and you'll both be too dead to tell anybody about it.
I was absolutely petrified. I couldn't believe the situation I was in. Liam, please, you have to help me. I'm begging you.
Be quiet. Don't say another word, okay?
I did as Liam's dad told me. Well, I wasn't going to argue with him, especially as he was now holding a huge knife. He started walking towards Lucy, brandishing the knife at her. Then I noticed that Liam also had a knife in his hand, and he was walking towards me.
Help!
Lucy and I both screamed out at the same time. Liam lifted the knife and swung it towards me. I closed my eyes and waited for the pain that was about to hit me. But instead, I felt the ropes that were behind me begin to loosen. Liam had cut the ropes.
Come on, quick, let's get out of here.
I was so happy. I knew that Liam wasn't a bad guy. As soon as Liam had finished setting me free, he ran at his parents and knocked them out of the way. Then he got the ropes off from Lucy too. The three of us ran up the basement stairs and out into the garden. Liam's parents were hot on our tail. Suddenly, I heard Lucy scream.
Ah!
Liam's dad had caught hold of Lucy and was holding the knife to her throat.
Liam, quick, grab Marley and come back here.
No, Dad, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that.
Stop messing around, Liam. I need your help here.
No, Dad, I'm not going to help you anymore. I never wanted this life of crime. I didn't have a choice. I was born into it.
You can't get out of it now. You know too much.
I don't want to live like this anymore. I want out.
You won't be able to do anything else. This is all you know.
You're wrong, Dad. There are plenty of things I can do. Things that are honest and legal.
Honest and legal doesn't give you the kind of money you can earn from our business.
Money isn't everything, Dad. Being a good person is more important to me than money.
I had never felt any happier than I did at this moment. To hear Liam telling his parents that he wanted nothing more to do with that life was music to my ears. I was wondering what Liam's dad would do next when all of a sudden, Lucy knocked the knife out of his hand. She did a flying backflip and simultaneously knocked Liam's mom and then his dad to the floor. I couldn't believe the skills that she had. They both lay on the ground, moaning in pain. What should we do? Should we tie them up? But we had no need to worry, because 2 seconds later, the sound of sirens came screaming through the air. 2 police cars pulled into the driveway, and the next thing I knew, Liam's parents were in handcuffs.
Good work, miss. We will take care of these two now.
I looked at Liam in confusion. How did the police know to come?
I called them from the basement. I couldn't trust my parents not to harm you and Lucy, so I called them and told them to come here quickly.
You really did that for me? You turned your own parents in?
I've had enough of the life of crime. I want to lead a life I can be proud of.
I looked at Liam and my heart filled with pride. He had risked everything for me. His parents would probably never speak to him again. After Liam's parents were sentenced and sent to prison, our lives went back to normal. His parents had left their mansion to Liam, but he didn't want anything to do with it.
I can't live here anymore. It has too many memories of the life I used to lead. I've decided I'm going to sell it and buy a smaller place. Then, the money that's left over, I'll donate to charity. I know that won't make up for all the bad things my parents have done, but it might compensate slightly.
I think that is a very good idea. Once the mansion sold, Liam and I found a cozy little cottage and moved in together. I was really happy. I had a loving boyfriend and a beautiful little home. What more could a girl want? I still kept in touch with Lucy. Actually, we became really great friends. At one point, she even asked me if I would like to work with her and become a spy. I just laughed. No, thank you. I think I've had enough adventure to last me a lifetime. So that's it. That's my story. Now,
Marley, come here. You've got to see this.
Huh? I could tell by Liam's tone of voice that something serious was going on. I ran into the room and saw that he was watching something on the TV. On the screen was a photo of Liam's parents.
If anyone sees the escaped convicts, please call the police immediately. The public are warned not to approach the couple, as they are deemed to be highly dangerous.
I looked at Liam in horror. How could this have happened? How could they have escaped from prison?
We have to leave right now.
Liam held out his hand to me. I took hold of it and we ran to the front door. But when we opened the door, standing there was this huge man. I had no idea who he was. I'd never seen him before in my life. Suddenly, he lunged at Liam and put his arm around his neck. I started kicking and punching him, but I was no match for such a huge guy. He swung his fist, hit me clean on the nose, and knocked me out cold. I don't know how long I was unconscious for, but when I woke up, Liam was nowhere to be seen. I grabbed my phone and called Lucy. Lucy, thank God! You have to help me.
What's the matter?
Liam's parents have escaped from prison. We were about to leave, but this man came. He knocked me out. I've just woken up and Liam is missing.
Okay, don't stay there a minute longer. Come straight to the headquarters of my spy organization. I'll be waiting at the entrance for you.
When I walked into the building, Lucy came rushing over to me.
Are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?
No, I'm fine. I'm just worried about Liam.
Don't worry about Liam. We will find him.
Thank you.
But I'm going to need your help.
Of course, I'll do anything.
I was hoping you would say that, because we will need 100% commitment from you. We are going to train you to become a spy.
The color drained from my face. I wasn't sure if I was ready to become a spy. Isn't it dangerous?
Not once you have the skills, it isn't.
I spent the next 2 weeks doing intensive training. I learned all the skills needed to become one of the top spies in the world. I learned about tracking people, self-defense, and everything else that went with the job. Every day was spent either in the classroom or in the gym until eventually I was ready to start work. At the end of the training, I was exhausted, but I felt confident that I could be a good spy. I was sitting in my room when Lucy came bursting in.
Marley, we have a lead.
Are you serious? Where? What?
One of our spies in Mexico thinks he spotted Liam.
Mexico? What's he doing in Mexico?
I don't know, but we're going to find out. Pack some things in a bag. We have a plane waiting to take us there.
My heart started beating so fast at the thought of what was about to happen. I grabbed a few things and then Lucy and I set off to the airport. When we landed in Mexico, the spy that had seen Liam met us at the airport.
This is his location. Be careful. I have no idea if he is alone or with other people. I'm sorry I can't give you any more information.
It's okay. We are just grateful for what you have done.
The address is only about half an hour from here. You'll be okay getting there by yourselves?
Yes, we'll be fine. Lucy and I jumped in a taxi and headed off to the address the spy had given us. Lucy asked the driver to stop a few houses down from where Liam was staying. If he was being held against his will, we didn't want his captors to know we were there. We crept up towards the house and peered through the window. What?
What is it?
It's Liam. He's in there and he's with his parents.
Come on, let's go around the back and see if we can get into the house.
I followed Lucy around the back of the house. We found a window that was open and climbed through it. We crept through the hallway and stood listening outside the door of the room Liam and his parents were in.
So, everyone knows what their job is, right?
Yes, Dad, don't worry. We've done this kind of job so many times. Nothing will go wrong.
I couldn't believe my ears. Is Liam working with his parents again? But what I heard next was even more shocking.
I can't believe that Marley fell for it.
I know, I thought I would have a hard time convincing her that I had turned over a new leaf, but she fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Ha ha, I knew it would all go to plan.
My heart sank. I was distraught. So all along, Liam was lying to me. He tricked me into believing that he was a good guy, that he had changed. Then my sadness turned to rage. I was so angry with him for fooling me. Without thinking, I burst into the room. You are such a jerk! Lucy tried to stop me, but it was too late. Liam looked at me in shock, not saying anything, whilst his dad shouted for his guards.
We need help in here, now!
The room filled with the family's guards. Lucy looked at me and nodded. I knew what I had to do. We had practiced this scenario over and over. I began kicking and punching at one guard after another. Lucy was doing the same from the opposite side of the room. It wasn't long before each and every one of them were knocked out cold. Lucy grabbed hold of some rope and threw one to me.
You tie up Liam's mom. I'll get his dad.
His parents didn't even try to struggle. I think they knew that it would be useless.
Good work, Marley.
I turned to look at Liam. I had no idea why he would be so happy that we had defeated the guards and tied up his parents.
You know I was only saying that to fool my parents, don't you? I was just trying to buy some more time before I could escape and come back to you.
I was so confused. I didn't know whether to believe him or not. I don't know what it was, but something told me that I should stay on the side of caution. I'm sorry, Liam. I love you. I truly do. But I can't go out with you anymore.
But why? I'm telling you the truth. I'm done with this life of crime.
I'm sorry, but I would always be wondering if you were being honest with me or not. And I also don't think I can forget what you have done in the past. You have too much baggage.
You don't mean that, Marley. We're good together.
Yes, we were once, but that was before I knew who you really were. Liam's parents were taken back to prison and put into a highly secure wing. I didn't see Liam again. I was too busy with my new job as one of the top spies in the world. I'm sad things didn't work out with us, but I don't want to have to deal with his criminal ties and complex past. Now I'm just enjoying spending my time at the spy organization with Lucy, and we've become the best spy partners the world has ever seen. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you've all been able to hear my story.
I opened the kitchen door. Before I had even put a foot inside, I noticed there was something red on the kitchen floor. I wonder what that is. Maybe Adam has spilled some tomato sauce or something? That's when I saw him. Adam was lying face down on the floor with a huge knife sticking out of his back. Ah! But before I continue with this crazy story, make sure you remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell too. My hands were shaking so much I could hardly punch the numbers into my phone.
Hello, police. How can we help you?
Quick, you must come. It's my husband. He's been murdered.
Okay, miss, calm down. Calm down.
Please come now.
Just relax. There is an officer on the way to you now. Please stay on the phone.
He just started crying. What will I do without him? We've been married so long.
Is there anyone else there with you?
No.
Okay, just stay where you are. The officers will be with you shortly.
I heard the sounds of sirens coming in the distance. A couple minutes later, the police car pulled up in front of our house.
Were you the one that found him?
Yes, I had just been shopping.
What time did you leave the house?
It was just before 4 o'clock.
And what time was it when you returned?
Probably around 7?
Okay, so we have about a 3-hour time frame. Do you know if Adam was expecting anyone to come to the house at all whilst you were out shopping?
I don't think so. He didn't mention anything anyway.
Okay, thank you. We will probably want to ask you a few more questions later, but for now, maybe you should leave us to our work.
One of the policemen led me through to the lounge.
You wait here. I will get you a cup of tea.
I'd better call Adam's parents. I took a deep breath. It was going to take everything I had to make the phone call. How do you tell someone that their son has been murdered? I heard the sound of Adam's dad's voice on the other end of the phone.
Hi, Selena. What a nice surprise. How are you?
I burst into tears.
What's the matter?
It's Adam. He's dead.
What?
He's been murdered.
Oh my God, no!
I could hear Adam's mom in the background asking him what had happened.
It's Adam. He's dead.
I heard her cry out in shock.
No! My baby! No!
What happened?
I don't know. I came back from shopping and found him in the kitchen.
But why? Who would do such a thing?
I don't know. The police are here now. They're gonna gather all the evidence.
Will you be okay? Do you want us to come over?
No, it's all right. I'll be fine. Anyway, I'm sure the police will be here for a while.
Okay, we will see you tomorrow then.
I could still hear the sound of Adam's mom crying in the background. Will you be okay?
Yes. Don't worry about us. We have each other.
The door opened and the policeman walked in with a cup of tea for me. I'd better go now. The police have just come into the room.
Okay, bye then.
Bye.
Here, drink this. I put 2 sugars in. It will help with the shock.
Thank you. I sipped on the hot, sweet tea. Why would someone do something like this to Adam? He was such a lovely man. He wouldn't hurt a fly.
Don't worry yourself. That's our job. I promise you we will find out who has done this, and they will go to prison for a very long time.
I shook my head. I just can't believe it. How can something like this happen to such a lovely man?
I'm sure it must be a big shock. Do you have someone that can come and stay with you?
I'll be okay. Adam's parents said they will come over tomorrow.
That's good then. You shouldn't be on your own.
The police stayed until the early hours of the morning. I thought that I would never get to sleep after they left, but eventually I managed to drift off. I was woken a few hours later by the sound of the doorbell ringing. I looked at the clock. It was only 6 a.m. Who can be here at this time? I went downstairs and opened the front door. Standing there were 2 policemen that had been with me the night before. Have you found out who did it?
That's not why we are here. I'm sorry, miss. You are under arrest.
What? But I haven't done anything.
We have been tipped off by Adam's mother that you are the one that murdered him.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It's not true. She's made it up. She's never liked me, you know.
I'm sorry, but we will have to take you to the station for questioning.
The policemen handcuffed me and put me into the back of their car. They didn't say a word to me on the way to the police station. When we arrived, another policeman took me into a back room and told me to sit down. It seemed like an age before anyone came. But eventually, the door opened and 2 officers came in and sat down opposite me.
Right, let's get straight to the point. Where were you between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. on the night of the incident?
I was out shopping?
Can anyone vouch for you?
No, I was alone.
So you don't have an alibi?
I guess not.
Had you and Adam been fighting?
No, of course not. We were really happy. I love Adam. I would never do anything to hurt him.
But we only have your word for it. Adam's mother seems to think differently.
That's because she never wanted Adam to marry me in the first place. She didn't think I was good enough for her son.
Well, I'm afraid you will be reprimanded on bail until we can investigate further.
My heart sank. How can this be happening? As if it wasn't bad enough that I lost Adam, now I'm being locked up in a cell? I lay down on the bed in the cell and stared up at the ceiling. This is crazy. How can they think it was me that murdered Adam? How long are they going to keep me locked up in here? But luckily, I wasn't there for too long. After a few hours, they came and opened my cell door.
You can go home now. Adam's dad has paid your bail money for you.
Oh, thank goodness. You see, he knows I wouldn't have murdered Adam. He wouldn't have paid the bail money if he thought I was guilty, would he?
Well, we still have to complete our investigation just so that we can be certain you are not guilty.
I was just so thankful to be able to go home. But when I pulled up in front of our house, I couldn't help but burst into tears. How can I live here without Adam? Everywhere I look, I'm reminded of him. I went into the kitchen and put the kettle on. Suddenly, my phone started ringing. I looked to see who was calling, but they had withheld their number. Hello?
I heard your husband was murdered. You deserve it.
I dropped the phone and it landed on the floor. I was so shocked. Who would say something like that? I couldn't believe that anyone could be so mean. I picked up the phone and with shaking hands called Adam's dad. I told him about the phone call.
You leave it to me, Selena. I will hire a private investigator, and we'll find out who it was that called you.
Thank you. I don't know what I would do without you. It didn't take long for the private investigator to find out who had made the call. When he showed me the photograph of the caller, my heart dropped. That's Nancy.
Who?
She's this weird girl who wouldn't leave Adam alone. She was basically stalking him. We had to get the police to warn her off.
Well, they will be doing more than warning her off after what she has just done. It wouldn't surprise me if she was the one that murdered Adam.
Oh my god. Do you really think it was her? I mean, I know she's kind of crazy, but surely she wouldn't be capable of murder.
Well, let's see what the police have to say.
The private investigator told the police everything that he had found out. They arrested Nancy and took her in for questioning. They told Adam's parents and I that we could watch through a one-way glass as they interrogated her.
Did you murder Adam?
No, of course I didn't.
Where were you on the night of the incident?
I was at home with my family.
Can they back up your alibi?
Yes, of course they can.
But you do admit to making the phone call.
Yes, I did do that, but I definitely didn't have anything to do with his murder.
Adam's parents and I looked at each other and shook our heads. It seems like Nancy's innocent. She obviously just made the phone call to me because she's mean.
Come on, let's get out of here. We have a long day tomorrow.
The following day was Adam's funeral. It was so sad. The church was filled with all of his friends and family. Some of them I had never even met before. They played his favorite song. As I watched them lower his coffin into the ground, tears streamed down my face. Adam's dad put his arm around me and gave me a squeeze.
Are you okay?
I nodded through my tears. I just miss him so much.
I know. We do too.
After the funeral, we all went back to Adam's parents' house for something to eat. Everyone was so nice to me, telling me that I was part of their family now, and that I shouldn't be a stranger. Even Adam's friends were supportive of me.
You made Adam really happy. If you ever need anything, please just ask, okay?
Thank you. That means a lot. Once everyone had left, I said my goodbyes and drove home. When I got inside, I sat and thought about the whole day. Who would murder Adam and why? I mean, who would gain from his death? The more and more I thought about it, the more I began to wonder if someone from my past could have had something to do with his murder. I wonder if it could have been one of my past enemies trying to get their revenge. I remembered my homeless friends. Could one of them have done it out of jealousy? I decided that I would pay a visit to where I used to live when I was homeless, just to see what people living there would say to me. I wasn't prepared for the reaction when I started asking them questions, though.
Get out of here. You don't belong here anymore.
I only want to ask you some questions about my husband, Adam. Do you know anything about his murder?
Go away, you're not welcome. You think you're so high and mighty now that you're living in that big mansion? You haven't given us a thought, have you?
Of course, I've thought about you.
Don't lie. You're only here now because you want something from us. Well, we don't want anything to do with you anymore. Go on, get out of here.
With that, they started throwing shoes and pots at me. I knew there was no point in me staying there longer. They obviously weren't going to tell me anything. I could understand that they might be jealous that I'd found a new life. But I was so sad that they seemed to hate me now. When I got home, I just went straight to bed. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I burst into tears. My heart felt like it was broken in two. Oh, Adam! I miss you so much. Why did this have to happen? We were so happy. Suddenly, I heard a noise. What was that? Is someone in the house? My heart started beating madly. Oh my god, what if the murderer has come back again? I decided that I wasn't just going to sit around and wait for someone to put a knife in my back, too. I was going to go and see where the noise had come from. I picked up a vase from the table next to my bed to use as a weapon and crept out of the room. I went downstairs and looked in every room, but there was no one to be seen. I must have imagined the noise. There's definitely no one in the house. I began to feel foolish. I guess my mind is playing tricks on me, probably because of the stress or something. Just go back to bed, Selena. When I walked into the bedroom, I instantly sensed that I wasn't alone. Someone was in my bed. I flicked the light switch on and saw Adam sitting in the bed. Ah!
Hello, sweetheart.
Want to know what happens next? Make sure you tune into this channel for the third and final episode.